In lesson 10.7, we will explore how to find the volume of prisms and cylinders. You should be aware of what prisms are and cylinders are from lesson 10.5. Okay, so to review, we have a triangular prism here and a rectangular prism, and here we have a picture of the cylinder. B here is what we call the base, and H stands for height. The L here stands for length. The W stands for width. H again stands for height. And B will be your base of this solid. And again, for the cylinder, B is still base, R is the radius, H is the height. And this part will be your base. The formula to find the volume of a prism is simply the base area times the height. So if I have a triangular base, I would take the formula of a triangle, half times base times height, and multiply by the height of the prism. If I have a rectangular base, then I would take length times width times height to find the volume. And the same thing goes for the cylinder, which has a base of a circle. I would take pi r squared and multiply by its height. And note, the volume of a solid is measured in cubic units. Let's practice some problems here. To the right here, we have a triangular prism. So to find the volume, we need to first find out what the area of this triangle is, which is the base. Okay, so half times 6 times 8. I'll write it here again. And then we need to multiply the area of this triangular base by the height of the solid or the prism. And you should get 312 centimeter cubed. And here, the next solid we have here is called a rectangular prism. I will use this as my base. So here, base is length times width. Volume equals base times H, length times width times height. So 8 times 3 times the height of the solid, which is 10. So you should get 240 meter cubed. Okay, to find the volume of the cylinder, I will show you how to leave your answer in terms of pi and using pi equals 3.14. So volume equals base times height, so the base would just be pi r squared times h. Pi, just keep it as pi for now, and then the radius is 5. Substitute in 5 for r, and the height would be 15, and then we could do the math. 25 times 15, you should get 375 pi. At this point, this will be your answer in terms of pi. And if I ask you to write your answer using pi equals 3.14, you would keep going. And after doing the math, you should get about 1178 feet cubed. Let's do one more. Volume equals pi r squared, so our radius is 5 here, so 5 squared times 6, so 25 times 6 times pi will give you 150 pi. Again, this is answer in terms of pi. I'm going to ask you to keep going. 150 times 3.14 will give you about 471 inches cubed. Okay, part C, finding the volume of a solid. So here we have the cylinder split in half attached to a rectangular prism on each side. And the problem wants you to leave your answer in terms of pi. I will also show you how to leave your answer using pi equals 3.14. Okay, volume equals pi r squared h. This part will represent the part of the solid that I colored in. And then you need to add that to the length times the width times the height. So this part will be the volume of the rectangular prism. And r here is 1, because 2 is the diameter, so half of 2 is 1. The height is 1.5, the height of the cylinder. The length is, let's see, 2. The width is 1.5. The height is 3. Then we get 1.5 pi plus 9. And this is how you leave your answer in terms of pi. And you will write feet cubed. And if I ask you to keep going and write your answer using pi equals 3.14, you would have to do all the math. 1.5 times 3.14 and add 9. And this is about 4 feet cubed. Okay, for the second solid, we have half a cylinder plus a rectangular prism. So your volume would be half pi r squared h, because we only want to find the volume of half of this cylinder, plus length times width times height. So length times width would be the base area of the solid or the rectangular prism. Okay, half pi 3.5 is the diameter, so half of 3.5 would be 1.75, which will be the radius of the cylinder, the base of the cylinder. So that be 1.75 squared. And you need to multiply by a height of 5.1. So if I clear this up, you can see that 5.1 here is the height of the cylinder. And for the rectangular prism, I'm going to let this part be the base. So 5.1 should be your length, 2.6 should be your width, 8.7 should be your height. So L is 5.1, W is 2.6, and the height is 8.7. And to leave your answers in terms of pi, you should get about 7.8 pi plus 115.362 meter cubed. And perhaps I may ask you to use pi equals 3.14, and you would just have to sub in pi for 3.14 and do the math to get about 140 meter cubed. And that concludes our lesson.